At dinner, my girlfriend's friends laughed and said I should show I can handle it by paying their $700 bill. She nodded, expecting me to comply. I smiled, paid for my water, and walked out. 20 minutes later, her frantic voicemail left me speechless. I'm 29, and until last weekend, I thought I had a pretty solid relationship. My girlfriend Amber and I had been together for about 8 months. We met through a mutual friend at a birthday party, started talking, and things progressed naturally. She was 27, worked in social media marketing, and came from what you'd call a well-off family. I grew up middle class, worked my way through college, and now I'm doing fine for myself, not rich, but comfortable. The problem started to reveal itself about 3 months into our relationship. Amber had this group of friends, Chelsea, Madison, and Bree, who were all from similar backgrounds. Money was never really a concern for them. They'd talk about trips to Europe like I talk about going to the grocery store. Weekend shopping sprees were normal. Bottle service at clubs was expected, not a luxury. At first, I tried to keep up. I'd pay for nice dinners, surprise Amber with gifts, join them at expensive places. But it was draining my savings fast, and I started to feel like I was being evaluated based on how much I could spend rather than who I was as a person. The real breaking point came last Friday. Amber had been talking all week about this dinner her friends were planning at Marcello's, this upscale Italian place downtown that's known for its prices as much as its food. She mentioned it casually on Monday. The girls want to do dinner Friday at Marcello's. You'll come, right? Sure, I said. Should I make a reservation? Chelsea already did, 8 p.m. It'll be fun. I should have asked more questions then, but I didn't. Friday evening arrived and I met Amber at her apartment. She looked gorgeous. New dress, professionally done hair and makeup. I was wearing a nice button-down and slacks, nothing fancy but appropriate. You look amazing, I told her. Thanks, babe. You look good too. She kissed my cheek, careful not to mess up her lipstick. Tonight's going to be great. The girls are so excited. We got to the restaurant at 8. Chelsea, Madison, and Bree were already there, sitting at a large table in the back. They were dressed similarly to Amber, designer everything, jewelry that probably cost more than my car payment. Finally, Chelsea said as we sat down, we already ordered appetizers. Hope that's okay. Of course, Amber said, sliding into the seat next to Madison. I sat across from her, next to Bree. The waiter came over immediately with menus and a wine list. Chelsea grabbed it before anyone else could. We'll start with 3 bottles of the Barolo, she said without looking at the prices. I glanced at the menu. Each bottle was $180. The next hour was a blur of food and wine I didn't order. Appetizers kept coming, oysters, truffle fries, carpaccio, burrata. The girls ordered entrees like they were at a buffet, lobster, Wagyu steak, fresh pasta with white truffles. Desserts arrived without anyone asking. More wine. I ordered a simple pasta dish and water. I'd already done the math in my head and knew this meal was going to be insanely expensive. I figured I'd pay for Amber and myself and call it a night. Then the check came. The waiter set it in the middle of the table. Chelsea picked it up, glanced at it, and laughed. $743. Not bad. Madison nodded. Super reasonable for 5 people, honestly. Bree looked directly at me. So how are we splitting this? Before I could answer, Chelsea cut in. I think the gentleman should handle it, don't you? She was smiling, but there was a challenge in her eyes. Excuse me? I said. Come on, Madison chimed in. Show us you can handle it. Amber's told us how successful you are. I looked at Amber, expecting her to shut this down, to say something about splitting it fairly. Instead, she just nodded slightly, like she was agreeing with them. My heart sank. You want me to pay for everyone's meal? Why not? Chelsea said. It's what a real man would do. Unless. She trailed off meaningfully. Unless what? Unless you can't actually afford it. which would be kind of embarrassing, don't you think, Amber? Amber looked uncomfortable but didn't defend me. Just sat there, waiting to see what I'd do. Something clicked in my head. This wasn't about the money. Well, it was, but it was more than that. This was a test, a humiliation ritual. They wanted to see if I'd empty my wallet to prove something to them, to prove I was worthy of being with Amber. I pulled out my wallet slowly. All four of them watched. I took out a $10 bill and placed it on the table. "That's for my water," I said calmly. "I'm heading out." "Good luck with the rest." Chelsea's mouth dropped open. "You're joking." "Not even a little bit." I stood up and looked at Amber. "If you think this is acceptable behavior, we have nothing else to talk about." "Wait, you're seriously leaving?" Amber said, finally finding her voice. "Seriously leaving." "Enjoy your dinner." I walked out of that restaurant with my head high, even though my hands were shaking. I could hear them starting to panic behind me, but I didn't look back. Update 1, I got home around 9:30 and poured myself a drink. My phone had been buzzing the entire drive, but I'd ignored it. Once I was settled on my couch, I finally checked. 12 missed calls from Amber, 7 from Chelsea, 5 text messages ranging from "Where did you go?" to "Are you serious right now?" to "You're being incredibly immature." I didn't respond to any of them. I just sat there, replaying the dinner in my head, wondering how I'd missed the signs that Amber and her friends saw me as an ATM with legs. Around 10 p.m., my phone rang again. Amber. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "What?" I said. "Jake, what the hell? You left us there with a $700 bill." "I left you with your $700 bill. I didn't order 3 bottles of expensive wine. I didn't order lobster and wagyu. I ordered a $30 pasta and water." "But you thought I'd just pay for everything? Because your friends decided to test whether I could handle it? That's not how this works, Amber." "It was just dinner." "Just dinner?" They humiliated me. They set me up to either empty my wallet or look like a failure in front of everyone. And you sat there and let it happen. You agreed with them. Silence on the other end. Then, quieter. "I'm sorry. They can be a lot sometimes. But you embarrassed me." "I embarrassed you? Are you hearing yourself right now?" "Yes." I had to split a $700 bill 4 ways. Do you know how that looked? About as expensive as ordering food you couldn't afford hoping someone else would pay for it. That's not fair. None of this is fair, Amber. I'm done. We're done. "Wait, don't." I hung up, blocked her number, blocked her friends, blocked the whole situation. Update 2. The weekend was quiet. I spent Saturday doing laundry and catching up on shows I'd been meaning to watch. Sunday I went to the gym, got coffee with my buddy Marcus, and generally tried to process what had happened. Marcus thought the whole thing was hilarious. "You walked out? Just like that? Just like that?" Man, I wish I could have seen their faces. $700 split 4 ways. That's what, $175 each? More than they expected to pay, that's for sure. You did the right thing. That was a power play. They wanted to see if they could control you. He was right. The more I thought about it, the more I realized this wasn't the first time something like this had happened. There'd been other dinners where Amber's friends made comments about me paying. Other situations where I was expected to fund their lifestyle to prove I was good enough. Monday morning, I woke up to an email from Amber. Subject line, "Can we please talk?" The email was long. She apologized for her friend's behavior, said they'd gotten carried away, that she should have defended me. She claimed she was embarrassed by the whole thing and wanted to make it right. She suggested we meet for coffee to talk things through. I deleted it without responding. Tuesday afternoon, Marcus texted me. "Dude, you need to check Instagram." "Why?" "Just look at Amber's story." I didn't follow her anymore, but I logged into a backup account I barely used. Sure enough, Amber had posted a long story, multiple slides about toxic masculinity and fragile male egos, and how real men don't abandon their partners over money. She didn't mention me by name, but it was obvious. Comments from her friends were all supportive. "You deserve better. He showed his true colors. What a loser." I screenshot everything and sent it to Marcus. Unbelievable. "She's trying to control the narrative," he said. "Make herself the victim." Yeah, well, good luck with that. I didn't respond publicly, didn't make my own posts, didn't engage. I just let her shout into the void. Update 3 Wednesday evening, I got a voicemail. Not from Amber, from her mom. "Hi, Jake. This is Patricia, Amber's mother. I heard about what happened at dinner this weekend and I wanted to reach out. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Amber is very upset, and I'm hoping you two can talk this through like adults. Please call me back when you get a chance." I did not call her back. The fact that Amber had escalated this to her parents was both embarrassing and telling. She was trying to apply pressure from every angle. Thursday, Marcus called me. "You're not going to believe this." "What now?" "Chelsea posted something. It's vague, but it's clearly about you. Says some people can't handle being with successful women, and that if you can't afford the lifestyle, be honest about it instead of wasting people's time." These people are insane. I know, but it gets better. Someone in the comments asked what happened, and Chelsea started explaining the dinner situation. Except in her version, you offered to pay and then threw a tantrum when the bill came. That's a complete lie. I know it is. But that's the story they're going with. I felt anger rising but forced myself to stay calm. Let them tell whatever story they want. Anyone who actually knows me won't believe it. True. But you might want to set the record straight at some point. Maybe. Or maybe I just let this die naturally. Friday afternoon, exactly 1 week after the dinner, I got a text from an unknown number. "Hey, this is Bree. Can we talk?" I was surprised. Bree had been one of the friends at dinner, one of the people who'd participated in trying to pressure me into paying. Why would she be reaching out? Against my better judgment, I responded. "About what?" "About what happened. I owe you an apology." Final update. I agreed to meet Bree for coffee Saturday morning at a place near my apartment. Neutral ground, public space, just in case this was some kind of ambush. She showed up looking uncomfortable, which was different from the confident, almost smug person I'd seen at dinner. We got our coffees and sat outside. "So," I said, "what's this about?" "I've been thinking about what happened at dinner. About what we did. And I'm sorry. It was wrong." "Okay." Chelsea suggested the whole thing. She said it would be funny to see if you'd actually pay, that it would put you in your place or whatever. I went along with it because, honestly, I didn't think you'd actually walk out. I thought you'd just pay and maybe be annoyed, but get over it. You thought I'd let myself be humiliated and then just move on? When you say it like that, it sounds terrible." "It is terrible, Bree." She looked down at her coffee. "I know." And watching what happened after, seeing Amber and Chelsea spin this whole story about you being the bad guy, it made me realize how toxic that whole friend group is. They do this to everyone. Any guy who dates one of them gets tested constantly, and if you fail the test, they tear you apart publicly. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm out. I'm done with them. After the dinner, after seeing how they treated you and then how they talked about you after, I realized I don't want to be associated with people like that. I wanted you to know that not everyone agreed with what happened, and I wanted to apologize for my part in it. I studied her face. She seemed genuine. I appreciate that. Thank you. For what it's worth, Amber's been miserable. She thought you'd come crawling back by now. The fact that you haven't has really messed with her head. Good. She's also been fighting with Chelsea because apparently this whole thing was supposed to test your commitment, but instead it just ended the relationship. Chelsea thinks you were never good enough anyway. Amber's starting to realize maybe Chelsea isn't such a great friend. Maybe she should have realized that before she let them humiliate me. Yeah, probably. Bree finished her coffee. Anyway, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. None of it. We talked for a few more minutes, then went our separate ways. I never heard from any of them again after that. Not Amber, not Chelsea, not Madison. Bree and I became casual friends, actually. She left that friend group entirely, started hanging out with different people, and later told me she felt like she'd escaped a cult. As for Amber, I heard through the grapevine that she dated a few guys after me, but nothing lasted. Apparently, once guys got to know her and her friends, they'd bail. Funny how that works. Chelsea's still doing her thing on social media, posting about luxury and standards and knowing your worth. Madison got engaged to some finance guy who apparently has the money to keep up with her lifestyle. Good for him, I guess. Me? I'm doing great. Started dating someone new a few months after all this. Anna, she's a teacher, down to earth, genuinely kind. On our first date, she insisted on splitting the bill. On our second date, she paid for everything because she said she wanted to. It's been refreshing to be with someone who doesn't see relationships as transactional. Looking back, that dinner was the best thing that could have happened. It showed me exactly who Amber was and what she valued. It saved me from wasting more time on someone who saw me as a status symbol instead of a partner. And it taught me that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just walk away. The $10 I left for my water was the best money I ever spent. Well, that and the coffee with Bree where I learned I'd been right about everything. Sometimes you don't need revenge or dramatic confrontations or public call-outs. Sometimes you just need to remove yourself from toxic situations and let the people who created them deal with the consequences. Amber wanted someone who could handle it. Turns out, I handled it perfectly by refusing to play a rigged game. And that $700 bill they had to split 4 ways? That was their problem, not mine. I walked out of that restaurant with my dignity intact, and that's worth more than any amount of money they could have asked me to spend.